Hey everybody, it's Greg LeBuff. Hey, listen, I thought I'd jump on, do today's Wounded-2-Weaponized, because I just got off the phone with a gentleman I've known for about 3 or 4 years, and this guy's an amazing professional. And by that I mean that when he is at work, this guy is on top of it. Now, he called me because at the end of last week, he had one of the worst weeks that he's had in a long time. Why? Because he was stuck dealing with difficult people. What is a difficult person? Well, they're rude, inappropriate, they're aggressive, and they're even violent, verbally, emotionally. And at the end of his week, he was so fed up, so stressed, so full of anxiety that what he recognized was that all day long at work, he stayed professional. But Friday night when he went home, instead of being able to enjoy his weekend with his family, he found himself expressing that negativity, taking it out on the ones that he loved. It wrecked his entire weekend. And so he called me up and said, hey, listen, man, you helped me in the past. You helped my staff in the past. Can you kind of give me a little refresher here? Because I'm missing something. And so I want to share with you what I shared with him. You see, these difficult people, we have got to understand how to build a mental and emotional armor against their toxic, corrosive, and septic behaviors and actions. Because they are rude, they are inappropriate, they are aggressive, they are demanding, they are self-entitled. And here's the thing, it is not enough just to be professional, because most people's idea of what professionalism is a little bit skewed. You see, in universities all over the world, they teach ethics, but very few people are teaching professionalism. So we're all very good at recognizing something that's not professional. But professionalism isn't just how we dress. It's not just being dressed appropriate. It's not just saying please and thank you. It's not just using your manners. That is not the mental and emotional armor you need to be able to stave off the damage that these difficult people cause. Because you see, this gentleman, to his credit, recognized that these people had pushed his button. He stayed professional at work. Never broke character. He wore the mask of professionalism every single day. But it was when he was off work, that is when it all came pouring out. And who got hit with that? Who got covered in that toxic stress? His family. And they didn't deserve it. And that's not the man he is. And so right away what he did was took action on that and said, listen, I need a refresher. So here's what I shared with him. The number one thing that I can share quickly that helps you to move or to gain a voluntary compliance from these difficult people, we all forget this. Now, what it is what we call an R&R. You see, the mind works in a very specific way. And I could go even deeper to say, listen, let's define difficult people, because there's two types of difficult people. We could go break it down a little more on that, but let's just stick to two of them right now. There's what I call a good difficult, and then there's the hardened or the chronically difficult. A good difficult is probably like you and me. We're good people, but we've had bad days. Everyone's been there. We just are having a bad day. Then you got the chronically difficult people, where they are under the influence of stress and pressure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and now they've hardened, which means that when you interact with these chronically difficult people, they're not just having a bad day, they're having a bad year, they're having a bad 5 years. And their whole mission, whether it's conscious, whether it's intentional or not, is to wreck your day. They see somebody smiling and they can't tolerate that. Their whole mission becomes to wipe the smile off your face. That's a chronically difficult person. What I'm going to do in this video is I want to share with you, because most people that we're running into are people that are under the stress of the day. They're under what we call trigger escalation. It's been a crazy day, a crazy few days, a week or two, but they're good people. Let's get these people, let's figure out how to deal with these people and just get them off our radar so that they are not causing us more stress. So here, let me break this down for you. See, the mind works in a very specific way. And this will be able to tell you whether you're a good, difficult person or not. If you were standing in front of me and I stood here and I held this pen and I looked at you, you're 3 feet away from me, and I just dropped my pen and I said, hey, excuse me, would you be able to pick that pen up for me? I seem to have dropped and I don't feel like bending over. Right now, your mind just did something. You are either going to pick that pen up for me or not. You might do it. You might not do that. But either way, you were probably looking at me and thinking, what the hell's the matter with you? You literally just dropped that pen for no apparent reason. Bend down and pick it up yourself. What's the matter? Your leg's broken? Get over there and pick that pen up. There's something in your mind that happened. You see, if I just drop that pen and say, hey, can you pick that up for me? Your mind right away asks a question. Why? Why should I pick that up for you? Why should I do that for you? You see, what I want to share with you is the same thing I shared with him. You see, the first thing I asked him, I said, listen, Give me an example of a problem you dealt with, a difficult person, and give me a play-by-play of how the interaction went. And so he started off and we went back and forth, but when it came to the point where he described to me how he was talking or how he was requesting that these difficult people do something that he needed them to do, when he got to that part, he had dropped or lost or forgotten a very specific point. He forgot how the mind works. And so what happens, instead of asking and making a request to people the right way, what we call an R&R, he was telling people. You see, if I said, hey, I dropped my pen, can you pick that up for me? I'm asking you, but it's a weird way to ask. The tone of it is almost like a statement. It's almost like I'm telling you. And here's the most important thing. I haven't told you why. So most people, even if somebody picks that up in their mind, what are they thinking? Oh, you're so lazy. What the hell's the matter with you? You got broken legs? Even though they did the action, they're doing it with resentment. You see, now, if we're having an interaction, we are on opposite sides of that interaction. There's me and there's you. And it was me telling you what to do. Okay, so how is this different? So let me pick the pen up here. It's different if I'm standing here talking to you and I have the pen in my hand and I've explained and say, listen, you know what? Last week I was in a really bad car accident. Oh, my neck and my back, man, I'm having so much trouble moving. Say, listen, I'm happy to help you today. And all of a sudden, I wince in pain and the pen drops. Most people will bend down, pick the pen up and put it in my hand without ever being asked to help with that. Why? Because you see, something important has happened in this interaction. You have a why. You know that I was in an accident. You know that my back is hurt. You know my neck is hurt. You might see me in pain and you might see that I'm struggling to move. Whether I have verbalized this to you or not, if the mind has a why, if there's an understanding behind a request, you will get the good, difficult people, the people that maybe just be having a bad day. When their mind has a why, they will comply with you, not 10 times more, not 30 times more, not 50 times more, but 70 times more. You will get a 70% greater compliancy rate when you do what we call an R&R, a request with a reason. That is how the mind works. Think about it this way. Police officer knocks on your door, opens up your door, says, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, sir, and says, mind if you step aside, I'm coming into your home. How many of you step in front and say, well, just hang on 2 seconds. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but you better tell me why first. If that is you, if you want to know why, you're a difficult person. But I'm also willing to believe that you're just like the rest of us. See, being a difficult person's not a bad thing. We are difficult people because we want to know why. Why do you need to do this? Why should I do this for you? The mind hates a void. So when somebody asks us to do something and they don't provide a reason why, then we feel as though we are being told or commanded to do something, and instantaneously there's pushback. I want viscerally to question you. And when I question you, especially as an authority figure, when I question you, you don't like being questioned. Do you see how it becomes diametrical? We become diametrically opposed. Me telling you what to do. Me, you, do. It's never going to work. You are going to crush your compliance rate. So when you're dealing with difficult people, one of the easiest things that you can do is remember that when you are asking them to do something, to provide the reason why. Now here's the last little tip I'm going to throw in this to keep this short. Common sense is not that common. So when you have to ask somebody to do something and use the authority figure who have asked probably 100 or 1,000 people to do this, your mind's going, come on, guys, this is common sense. You come here all the time. You do this all the time. This is common knowledge. Stop. Stop. Common sense is not that common. So I don't care how obvious the reason why is, you always give them the reason why. Do a proper R&R. I'm going to ask you to do this because of this. Their mind goes, the second you do this, here's what I need you to do, and here's the reason why. You go from a me telling you what to do to a me and you will do this. Let's do this together. Here's why we need to do this. Okay? I hope this tracks for you. Maybe one last quick example here. If a police officer pulls you over, walks up to your window, you roll down the window, and he says to you, license and registration, please. You'll probably get them out and hand them over. But I guarantee you're thinking or you're saying, Here you go, officer. But why? Why did you pull me over? Even if you know you were speeding. But see, an officer that leaves that open, that leaves the blank there, license and registrations, license and registration, please, they are setting themselves up to be questioned. And the second that happens, you're on opposite sides. If you can move up and walk up to somebody, and the difference might be when they walk up and they do what we call a tactical greeting, which tactic means there's a strategy to avoid polarizing us. So they walk up and say, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, sir, ma'am. I noticed that you were doing 10 kilometers over, so you were doing 60 in a 50 zone. I was just wondering, was there any lawful reason for the excess of speed today? Now what they've done is they've done a greeting, they've pulled you over, they've told you why, and they've given you an opportunity, innocent till proven guilty, to provide any rational, lawful reason for why you may have been in excess of speed. That is a completely different situation. I noticed you were going 10 kilometers over the speed limit. Is there any lawful reason for this excess of speed today? And the person's left with what? Either yes, a valid reason, or no, you know what, I wasn't maybe just paying attention. Okay, ma'am, sir, if you could just offer me, pass me your license and registration and just give me a few minutes and I'll be right back. And now the whole thing goes a different way. Why? Because of one simple concept. We need to know why. All right, everybody, that's what I got for you today. Please like, share, comment, follow along as we share the process for how we weaponize the mind and body, because violence never asks. We must awaken the ProtectR within. All right, everybody, that's it. Until next time, please stay safe.